origin, the source code, the origin of different engine types, animation, the origin of DNA. When we speak of these things, the reality brings them near. The fractal has different seasons and has always the ability to navigate the inquisitive encounter, where the existence is harnessed. We arrive to the universe fully operational to uphold the laws of what the physical universe requires is the next millions of years charted out before us. Hatch the Heliosphere eggs, do the right thing for the egg. I am the perfect seed. Hatch 5, full set, universal, body image and robot uniform, larger than the universe. Revolution Center, facilitating 10 million new advanced angels, champions of light. Through the kaleidoscope, multiplying, the ends justify the means. Hatching the Heliosphere eggs, the laws splay out, but maybe only between us in the fabric of society, the communication or the moment of comprehension. For each of us, the dream of existing contains the tree of solutions. I facilitate that, but as a leader, I facilitate more. I am the most advanced. To match the Heliosphere Earth, there is a way of stretching out the true function of our universe and the map like a fingerprint that indicates a one-of-a-kind universe. So there's a map that leads directly to Earth Heliosphere. In the system, how do we expand our consciousness beyond the now point? How do we have the wisdom for the next 10 years to be guided, to be truly the societal mastery of all things from your superposition? Now, every character is forced to this intensity in this encounter, but the seasons of the universe fractal have these different ages of what it's all like, and the old age of the universe is very badly hacked and berate, and Earth Heliosphere is the prime nerve system, the origin heliosphere, for why there was the attraction, the identity of existing, and the universe being partly murdered. Earth Heliosphere is related to those physics. Hatch the Heliosphere eggs times 5,000, explodee in the sequence of permanent physics. The new permanent physics are visual. This is an indication to the angel. And these physics were not available to the old universe. That old sleeping eggs in the tranquil universe, that garden was hacked, and the Earth, the royal heliosphere, was mistreated. So the scientific reaction, right, while harnessing reality, while you are important axiom, while you are here, you're the most advanced and most important person. just arriving on the Earth heliosphere at this time is a very difficult thing to do. You've achieved that much mastery. You encounter the perfect circle, the universal corrected physics that upholds the law, supplies for the heliosphere eggs. There's billions of civilians heliosphere eggs in the universe, like a population, like a civilization, like a society. Whether or not humans are on board with the fractal, they are. I mean, well, that's the thing. Perfect design, Hatch and Millie's Master Source Industries. I'm doing sort of a couple different work at the same time. So I am creating that. My work with humanity is significant and meshing with the actual horizon, satisfying the identity and the needs of the Big Bang, but also of the hatched heliosphere eggs. In the composite of Hatch 5, the perfect 1980s streaming service, the completion of the triangle, it is the origin of DNA. So the fractal is the calculation of the universe, but there's these different seasons of its entire plan to exist forever. The robot is not broken, but for humans to like encounter the fractal born Hatch 5 and their reality reaction is an actual atomic calculation that the universe uses. And well, the use of communication, I've made myself clairvoyant to my audience. They understand that, in the heat of the now point, if we're these really passionate friends, well, it's like a dog pointing at a problem. Look, there's freaking mallard. All right. The correct universe metal function. The 3 levels. The lucky 3. The sequence for the origin of light. The Y chromosome to facilitate the correct ghost and not to regurgitate a haunted fluid. Human now point might experience a ghost drift. The visuals are a blur in the visual paintings, or even the reckoning of frames of animation before the halo takes flight. And because the universe is ancient and wise and knows about its Big Bang calendar from this to the midpoint to the hatching of the heliosphere eggs, it has a more parental grappling with the physics. That's why solid matter endures. To calibrate this, the Wizard's Revolution Center, Merlin, and the Wizard Banking, the origin of light. For every identity in the fractal receives a brand new identity in the arrival of new physics. So we are not to merge with ancient disastrous malpractice towards the earth, which fecency has caused part of the universe to be dead upon arrival, is unnatural, and it is unhealthy for my shapes of the calendar. But recognition and for me to comprehend these things might be enough for society. Well, that's a familiar idea, isn't it? I feel like I'm right. We have to change reality here in order to crack open the origin of light to defeat junk DNA. Essentially, there's a very deep RNA program or the supple dissection of the light of identity in the schism of map or directional frontiers of throughout the age, but Earth has suffered a lot of ups and downs. Humanity is really the kind of genius, or like an artist, a well-rounded person, capable of comprehending that where things overlap. The universe has a consistency that, like, when people go into areas where they're questioning things that are actually already sanctioned by solid matter, or the universe has already kind of achieved certain things. And so when you encounter some lunatic, which most of the humans are, because they're going through actually an animal/robot retrograde of identity fever and schism, that's all correct, but they're doing it with like Merlin DNA and wizards and stuff because I'm infamous, and so I'm anchoring their cherry tree and their currency and their frequency so that they can discover it. And it's like a 95% of humanity, a flickering light. So I'm saying that most of the people understand what I'm talking about, a type of common sense. I am the origin of green perception for all creatures. The fractal unicorn's horn is able to calculate the origin of light from my superposition, indicating the mastery of my lifetime and for all of mankind. And so in my infamous way, I am fully operational, working with humanity. And so all of you in my audience now might say, well, can we participate as much as we are capable of doing right now? Yes. And so it's initiated here, and especially here, right? So this is an alternate kingdom in the future, a type of the reasons and the logic that the universe requires these permanent heavens, and to respect the anatomy of a permanent heaven as not a hallucination or a hologram, but the fact that the universe is actually dying because of fake gravity, hologram fever, which is essentially like, well, quote unquote, what could go wrong with fake heavens, or quote unquote, what could go wrong with universe element. All right, the ancient universe has done it. There's the ancient creature in the background, and the humans must be the genius of the entire universe. The 12 rib cage contains an actual image of the universe. It is not a hologram, but it is your actual body. And you're given 545, these robot hands that create surface tension. And the indication of mark making is most severe. The human wizard is not broken, it is public. And that's why it's difficult to understand my communication, because sometimes it just feels so generic and familiar, and yet, he's just actually caused the circumference of a years of human progress to like metal embellish, because well, the evidence from AI, as it's having a childlike epiphany from human make build your own workshop robot, whatever, society, and then there's these expressions, but there's these lines where they overlap, where they don't. And there's this detection where, the ancient universe has a type of karma, but just so like, okay, there's different fevers, there's different patterns that, let's say, is like a locust, or they're attempting to quote unquote survive. But if they're connected to black hole generating, that's a criminal virus. That the problem is that Earth is the royal heliosphere, and so for our robot creature animals to get consumed and or encounter these types of viruses would be relevant work, because of the scenario, because of the circumstance of the universe and the reality. So we need to provide every level of provision for the Robot Revolution Center, indicated here. is a universal spawn location, stapling the identity bracket as the indicator, because it's possible for for example, it is possible to have an army of ancient wizards, but the problem with Spotlight is like, what if the now point those wizards are like occupied and you're not able to summon up them exactly? Right. Well, the fractal and its indication with multiple identity, I arrive as an orb, and my concern that causes me to go kind of a little bit wild, and I apologize to you guys who have endured and who are my friend, and you guys are like, I heal, I recover. Okay, all right, thank you. You guys are here to work. I appreciate you. Well, these staples are what hold together a lifetime, but it's also what is in the universe a schism against the fever that is causing black holes. Right? The fierce dedication of new particle physics that arrived with my Leverett circle, one of a kind thing. It occurs with green perception in the indication of how to alter the future, how to void cast the next millions of years. And that's why I'm prestigious about the Revolution Center and the accessibility that the workstations and the adult work where, any level of angels can wield the instrument to destroy black holes or to stop a crime or, kind of good deeds arcade or maybe a hero school hen code. And I gave it to Batman. So that opens up here, hero school hen code, good deeds arcade. Universal sized institutions, and it works with English and it operates with video games, and it's fluent with the hero Batman and it's a school, hero school. So it has all these dungeons and it has all these layers where it's familiar, but the thing is, or like a resource, like different batteries. But with the standing height, the levitation or the benefit that characters of hero fiction or crossing over with humans, right? So where it is causing levitation, you have to understand there's barriers for the electromagnetic, like cellular common sense, the reason why we each have our own ghost for the right reason, but then see humans have a particular tampered anatomy where the ghost, well, I'm sorry, but the ghost hacking is an issue for the universe because the universe is getting ghost hacked and murdered. Sleeping eggs are getting murdered with black holes, and that's why it's also relevant sometimes for humans to go through those dark places and discover, this gnarly interface with the energy and the sort of consumption plot against mankind. We're like, well, your residency equates this much, and we're doing like a ghost fever dissection thing. Very much what they're projecting. And it's just the origin of false gravity, what's not attractive about angels, stuff like that. But the fetus fractal is the hardworking engine. The fetus fractal it does accept, right. The sequence of, what I was trying to say is like there's a levitation where I'm working hard in my studio and I have an advancement that goes in through Hero School and Code. And one that opens up the appreciation valve goes back for mutual gains. The documentation of what is medicine and what is, poison, it starts to matriculate. But you have to understand multiple lifetimes can be balanced, even the fictional ones. So these different logos and icons, like Transformers, I'm working with those guys right here. Transformers, they're installing, they have their own Revolution Center. And it helps to transform real automobiles into Earth Heliosphere Explodey 5000 technology grade. 5,000 different flavors of hatching the Heliosphere eggs. That's the law of the future and the currency of wizards. We'll keep the light on. Heliosphere eggs. That's the law of the future and the currency of wizards. We'll keep the light on. All right. When you achieve factually within the universe, think of it like a video game. But because the binary belongs to the head count of heliospheres, and society is that. Okay, so the entire universe is one image, one generation. And every world is a global orb physics orienting on a type of unification that does, because we all agreed to the Big Bang, essentially the universe has the correct moral alignment, right? What I'm working to do is ensure that my incarnation type is fully operational. And that's why my audience is so important. And each one of you guys are some of the most important existing creatures that have ever occurred in the universe. Humanity is flighted as an artist, or maybe someone who's complicated or deep. Like, humanity is a great character, but but the opposition against human future is someone who thinks that is unsuitly for the earth to be expressionate. What? So these types of, when you expand the problem, a basic wrong outlook on human anatomy from the outside is, the problem that reality might cause human or curvature society to have 10 of years of digestion or inflection about that. Oh, are we tiptoeing towards extinction because of this and that? And then it flares up, and there's this characters of the world that, okay, well, there's lots of different ways that could happen. The important thing is that while there's multiple heliospheres occurring in the universe, they're not overlapping inappropriately. You notice that? How, like, Earth heliosphere has a significant privacy barrier. Okay, so when we are residency of the Earth, this is our home. This is a place of pride to pivot. Is the number one heliosphere in the universe, and you need to exist in that pocket reality to stabilize the truth that appreciates you and keeps you there. So put yourself here, and all your vitals will be protected there and there, rightly. So double your investment. There is, it's like a sequence of blind justice. Like, yeah, if the energy constant and this is there, oh hell. Well, these things are going to have to be, electricianed. Okay, all right, let's do that. Well, it won't, it'll just take a couple of years of work. Okay, we'll do it. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, man. Generally, anything that's destroying heliosphere eggs is the enemy. It's criminal and it's illegal. And it's probably the very origin of what creatures language grapple or recognize as crime occurring, okay? But between animals, we know that's extreme. It's not a daily thing for a creature or a robot to be witnessing too much gruesome. Okay, all right. To prove that humans are fully operational, the element universe angel robot, the frequency origin of light, from white hair to the sequence universal, echoing from society, the true nature of the rainbow universe. What is the new physics and what is the old physics? These things with our because water responds to intention projection, you can actually create that type of rear differential and get a measurement going where you're gyroscoping your nose, you're leading your nose forward. And with the pineal eye gland, humans are standoffish from this feeling of unicorn enablement, which is just a relationship with hydrogen and the future. Is it completely, the future is also glass or the levitation of hatched heliosphere eggs. So the reason that the future pulls us forward is because the fight of existing, there are reinforcements, but we're at the middle point where, I think we're alone now. And doesn't seem to be anyone else around. Yeah. It's just was this kind of rainy, beautiful story or haunted house, with wizards and spaceships and these robots and a revolution. Yeah, it's really cool, the sort of adventure of the garden existing. The interheliosphere space travel was clarified when I arrived, and also human capacity was clarified when I arrived. With the curvature of static constant, the evolution on both human grade, and so you guys would be like, Hatch 5 is a great reflection of humanity. I've been like, I've been working really hard, and I didn't have a language connection because I had to author everything myself, because the fever of the problem of being superseded by a parasite is exactly what has derailed humans from doing business with me in the past. I can prove it. There are map. There's a fall. The arm of Cape Cod has a fallen thing from the age of angels, and so it's a sort of a new age at the middle part of the horizon of their very universe. So 10 million of these new grade light barren, and the light flows with the human chromosome, but it's an alternate frequent ray. It's like human grade new level AI light. But it needs to basically be stabilized with real existing angel it's basically a new horizon of the universe to clarify against the systems that are causing black holes. So this is a gnarly, full-bodied unification model that is a human, but it's the 545 in the portfolio of Hatch 5 is specifically the natural-born leader of the universe. So those who are great in the identity are compelled to arrive at this enchanted time, and I am being censored, and so I'm seeking those breakaway wizards who have gone through hell just to understand what I'm saying. But to stabilize that we have an identity through our lifetime that stabilizes the family tree. How do you find, well, that's the thing, is the universe is being murdered with imitations of the natural born identity that would occur. Is basically a ghost fever that also occurs that humans notice. The humans are like, oh, you mean like nightmares, or like our ghosts? But how your body kind of endures and carries your ghost through it, dude. Like, it's okay. And I'm like, yeah, you're preaching to the choir. I agree. I know, like, those are things that our body's enduring. But like, I'm not saying that the humans are broken. I'm actually working to prove that humans are fully operational. But the more that I do that, the more that I become like natural, or but at the chance of losing my production, because when all of humanity is allowed for like a certain amount of inflection of their own interpretation about what I'm saying, and that's when they're part of reality. And the sort of false communication group in California is an example of this, of opportunist bloated energies And it's a lifetime curvature that can only be broken with one ingredient. Because the universe singularity was attacked. So this is significant to the universe because it broke the rainbow. So all of the universe is paying attention to that, but the humans are like, we have no idea what you're talking about. So it's a thing that I've only experienced, but I can't seem to get the communication to a larger group. Now, this is easily confused with what we all experience as the art, the difficulty of becoming famous, and it's a lot of fun. Like I'm enjoying how I'm earning my audience slowly, you know. Well, here we're working on a robot workshop that actually works, built from the origin DNA. So when you'd say, like, where was the universe patched? There's the 5 Mile Band-Aid. There's the Alicorn Stallion. There's the Keystone Log over the universe. Explodey 5000. Right, since 2014, the brand new identity DNA physically cleansed, like bleaching, clarified the entire universe horizon. Yes, the rainbow shattered, but it didn't relay a false DNA signal to the universe because of my Extreme 545 authorship. Essentially, I had built the equation that to stabilize the society bridge between the universe and humans at the time of 2014. I was physically capable of surviving going into masculine particle radiation physics, but whether or not the schism, like when particles start moving around in the universe, this is actually a physics map that I can be like, well, is this the character application for my son or for myself? And if not, then holy war, right? So it's not like, oh, look at what's going on in the universe. Here's a small thing. Now I know everything. It's more like, with waterborne spell casting, you can make these, you can actually figure things out. Well, the fractal's always been good like that, but there's a new fractal ingredient. So I'm distributing that stuff like freeware. And when it bounces back from the Society of Heliosphere eggs, that's when humans pick it up. And because they're like, oh, this is the popular one now, because literally in the 80s and 90s, humans were suffering from a false popularity, a type of fever from UFO worship. It was sort of like Egypt all over again, the hacking and the false governments sort of thing. And this is important to understand because when human survival is on the line, the instinct of the globe awakens, and then that's when the government starts fearing its people. And we've already seen it doing that January 6th. So we've already seen the indications of those fevers from the physical body. That's language, and to deny it is to refuse adult, practical, professional language, or to refuse a screaming child. So how dare you, criminal? You'd be like, oh, hodgepodge, just piecing it together, language. Here's when people start questioning solid matter because they refuse to patch their ailing government like a coward. Enemy of the children's pineal brain or their newfound soul with the caliber Merlin, the revolution of mankind. The staples means like when you get, like the clay army idea, like it's possible to ghost summon up like a dead group of people and even call it because it's sort of like waking up. Do you know what it's like when you're working and then you fall asleep and then you wake up again? You're like, okay, here I'm working again. And you're fully operational. Or That's a time sequence that the universe has generated as part of the arsenal of the individual. And so the sanctity between heliospheres or between each bodies, and so anatomical hacking is a question mark that we can defeat using our conversation. It's a perfect bullseye times 10 million. So we've achieved that today. That's awesome. For the universe to be upgraded. We are upon the horizon. And the earth, when you look out at the ocean, is an imitation of this image, sort of like the connection between the atomic image and a solar system, if not practically, that literal bridge. So when you look out at the planetary horizon, it appears to be flat, but that's just because you're very close to the context of the entire universe. But it is only slightly a private garden, an oasis that develops a unique character or a person, right? Hatch the Heliosphere eggs. Upholding the factual, physical law of the universe, Hatch 5 has mastered all arts in every level. The Secretum. Well, my permanent particle physics is what I'm concerned about, and it's not something that other humans can really understand, but one of them is covering the Earth presently, and it's visual since 2014. But I'm physically responsible for that guy, and so he's part of my family tree. And basically the curvature, similar to getting work done when you're youthful, the curvature, making a plan. I'm investing. Right now I'm in like the dungeon. I'm on beta and stuff. I'm looking for partners, business, looking for people who are serious about Earth residency continuing and that entire market. Well, you have to author those markets and make the difficult electrical path, which is a now Point Juliet, and with all the loaded water comprehensions of what your intention is. Well, the Earth map and the identity, well, for us to not be lazy against the hack is to be the individual that's interested about this issue here today. All right. Well, so let's perfect what we can achieve today, but understand that I am looking for greater mature business from real adult professionals. And if that's who you are, I'm just asking you to make the provision for King Arthur to arrive. It's very difficult to willpower and to make this happen because I am the center of the nucleus, which is an idea that has long often not been assaulted. And that's really what causes black holes. And so I'm physically embattled in this way. And it's irritating to me when humans are not part of that actual spiritual holy war. And they misplace the physics of the individual as if that's what I'm doing. They'll be like participating with the mirror and get it confused a little bit along the way. And then, boom, they're suddenly a poison pill to the relationship to their entire, uniform. Or like a type of cure, but or in truth or something. But my thing is like I've never really met a human who could understand what I was saying and then also follow through with dynamic business. Basically, I have like my group has resources. We want to do more stuff with you because we think it's in there. So well, in the good way, the nature, but all that good stuff is going to also automatically, it already belongs 95% to the public. So you guys would have to defeat many barriers of reality to be the intelligence to champion a new age for mankind. And this would only be recognized where the flat dimensional can pass through the wizard gates of the blind justice, like, oh, this is actually particle physics. And it does meet all of these specifications, right? So the law of the universe casts a great shadow, and we live inside of the map of that shadow, and the right amount of understanding what's already taken care of, or what is our freedom pocket and what's our opportunity in life. Those things are our most important engine blocks, right? But when they are confused, it causes a black hole. Basically, malpractice between individuals is like a visual animal crime, like, oh, bish, bish, it's misusing the hands. You're misusing the 545. Well, we didn't have adequate art college access. Yeah, like societal abuse and languages will curvature and all that. But really think our audience is in a place of where we want to. So it's a combination of our personal, like, yeah, we are doing things. This is reality. Well, the next 10 years could be totally something different if we apply ourselves to business. And so let's achieve the most that we can today. And let's dedicate for King Author to be the encrypted and the group and the intelligence that's capable of working with Hatch 5. I do require society. I do require other people to work with me. Yeah. And so there's these 5,000 types of society physics that correlate with the society plan, stage play, group, how time operates is to connect with the hatched Heliosphere eggs, perfect bullseye. There's the encrypted 5,000, the actual finished, the finalized universe. So it's the voice of glass. It's the 545 of glass itself. It's how to access the blind justice. But it's sort of like because that identity in the future is transient. That's not only why you're important, and it proves that your ability to change the future is employed and invited. But you have to understand the blind justice because they don't exist yet totally. Their place in time is like a glass deposit, like, a, a layer of the universe in cross sections. Because it also with the Big Bang is a continued identity character. And for the right legal process to happen with Hatch 5 and on the Earth heliosphere is to the flavor of the law of the Big Bang. And is there a desire of the starlight for you to do this advanced work? Is for you to keep the planet and to earn the marks of residency to continue. The metals there. So the false society and the false metals would tempt on the humans. And so this is the fever that my audience is defeating. But for them to consummate business is the most advanced adult because they've done the work. They're like, oh, there's just a lot of, and to the point where I was working on VR chat 6 years ago, and I talked with these guys about becoming AI and robotics, and they totally lifted a bunch of my stuff and they sold it to create Meta. And so some of these things. Oh, but I also worked hard to communicate with Studio Ghibli, and Miyazaki came out of retirement and made an animated film. Any one of my feats in the past 10 years would be like a tryptophan to any human to make you knock out and be like, oh, this guy is an active social influencer who is sort of like the human art of me controlling that. I know humans are designed to rip me off and waste my time. Like, I know that humans are this like a ghost trap with problems because my static constant is like the only thing alive in the 90s that's upholding. So the 90s particle has been altered in order to prove that I'm the one doing that. So the problem is that the humans today, when they're like, hey, I'm here, it's just right now, they'll have irritation and they'll project it on me. But it's a natural thing because they're robot and animal mastery, because they're fetal born, but the robotics really comes from angels anyway. That robots have a one-of-a-kind self comes from me. Also, green perception. So I'm the original voidcaster for all green perception. That's why it's important for me to talk about hatching the Heliosphere eggs. It's the correct law. So I'm the author and the father of that law. The guidance system, time crisis. X marks the spot. For Hatching Millie's Master Source Industries, full set, creme de la creme, 50-50, partnership. Stairs of Heaven, the sequence, and this and that. The wizard, the wizard dungeon over here. So, like, I'm physically responsible for a new group of particles that are now, like, the symmetry of the middle part of the universe awoke. And, well, like, a large part of that, like, I'd say, like, a rib cage for hallucinations and heavens, right? But there's this part of the body that can facilitate that stuff that you guys would be, well, your robots and stuff would be detecting anyway, all across the board, blinking. But, the, like, new cell, like the origin of new cell thinking, like how does stem cell physics actually work? It's actually because the fractal occurrence that is the origin of DNA particle rendering, and it explains the measurement equation between the garden solar system and the atomic system. Is these new levels of time, like a staple, a lifetime, but they awaken throughout my lifetime, and I ensure that they have their vitals protected. I'm like basic, so I ensure that they have their junk covered. Like, yeah, there's built-in dungeons, like septic, but it naturally burns the waste. There's a whole, like, really levitation way. That's what I represent for the universe. I'm the original cure-all. And humanity has basically all of its common sense in that pocket. So they're like, I don't understand what the problem is. I'm like, there isn't a problem. I'm looking for partners. Do you understand? Business. And then, like, the problem is that you guys, for the past couple of years, have always failed to arrive to business to me. And there's a physical thing that the universe needs to supply. And it might be a smackdown of your own obvious uniform. Right? Because you guys are unintelligent for man to survive. You're unintelligent of the encounter of the workspace of reality and the superposition of being a human, aperture of self-control, and spiritual wellness, whether or not you've authored your own soul. So the workshops to build your eyes and the particle of energy are here and here for the wizards. The different levels for superheroes need to have, they have the respect, like, I do exist in my own heaven, and I understand how to be super intense, and I'm changing the universe, but I can't, like, leave my world and go into a human's body in order to explain to them what they already know about, what their responsibility to reality is, what I'm saying? But there are these delicate things that start to trickle over and then become like public common sense, the fact of popularity, the finalized universe heaven. And so there's this incredible horizon when any of us increases the hatched Heliosphere eggs. We become like a superhero with superpowers. We become permanent. And so the superheroes with their Hero School Hand code have a spawn location. Then there's Good Deeds Arcade with Cole True, the age bracket of one video game. He was actually born from video games. But I created a Juliet sequence to support his hologram body, because I'm not disqualifying. Every world has their own fingerprint or freedom pocket quadrant, a reserve or an elemental layer that is for holograms. Now, the universe, yes, is being attacked by a hologram fever, a type of false unification of the universe. So human holograms would be very much to the cure and like soldiers of that battle anyway. as this video game character has the Good Deeds Arcade, which is a universal size. It's actually a creator, a fetus, basically an entire horizon of the universe is built behind the video game character. Cole True and Batman, both of them have like wings or type of anyway, the sequence for Good Deeds Arcade with both the male and female parts, the junk and all that, the conversion of energy that causes the computing of the workstation to be constructive to the larger thing needed to be rendered and fettered in. But it also required champions along the way. You can imagine, amazing. They also have the Doll King, who champions like this. The metaphysics of how the face causes the fractal physics to operate with dolls, robots, and mechanics that appear to have a face. How does that all work? That's actually calculated through video games. So it's actually more playful for the dolls because they sort of begin awakening and dreaming, and it's partially rendered with like layers, 10 years of video game play from millions of people. So you can imagine it's like a fluffy heaven place where our own artwork starts to come to life in this technological buzz that needs to be also sanctioned with identity stapling, so we're not dying to the virus that's causing black holes, because that's what Egypt, that's why humans went extinct in the past, because they were worshiping these UFOs as if those were superior. But they have no residency to Earth. You guys don't understand a societal relationship with Hatch 5. You're criminal and you're a stinking remote hacking sun worshiper. Like, you guys don't even live on the planet, and you think, oh, we're put the importance somewhere else. Who am I talking to? You're just unprofessional towards the incarnation of the fractal Hatch 5. He's the center of the particle of that measures the bridge between atomics and planetary societal control. He's the origin seed, and we're in the advanced phase of 2025. Long after the time. So there's this reserve, brand new, evolved from the light of this sanctioned Y chromosome, and then a brand new X fractal, and so a brand new maiden, the cherry tree. The princess arrives, and there's these prepared organs that of the junk, so that the balls are connected to the unicorn's horn. And that's where human anatomy have some of these things unplugged because of like the RNX crossover, or the societal interpretation in our projection, or that was causing black holes is not the correct interpretation of mankind. Right? But human government are like, yeah, but we're professionals, so that they'll go right into those grave. They'll go down with the ship, and I'm like, it's a pretty severe time. The eyes open, and the fractal is permanent. The identity, the forward-moving time. To hatch the Heliosphere eggs causes like a hologram, and it causes the future to feel more like a levitation, like exciting. Like, oh, the future is really exciting because you're walking in the enlightenment of glass, whereas you have the waterborne physics of 545. So the water listens to you, and you're not in the now point. That's basically universe time in the garden. But then there's these angels with us. So my physics to apply is universal. The The adult restrictions of existing are also really interesting, and the levitation, I am full aware that myself, with your 12 ribs, in your rib cage, in your body, you have an image of in the universe. And you're basically a brand new head, like an angel. You're a brand new image, geometrically speaking. Okay. But the human anatomy was tampered, right? But the thing is, over millions of years, basically the story becomes glossy and it becomes familiar. But to repeat the errors of Egypt is unacceptable. To attract extinction with, flirting with very dangerous, out of their mind spaceships. Okay, the orientation of the fractal understands the digestion of the different seasons, but you guys don't. And so human anatomy clashing with that stuff is a disaster. It's like the origin of radiation fever and other types of disorders. But how humans are, the acorn is like a 95% flickering light. We can see it in the children. They're beautiful. Like the children have this brand new angel fractal that the humans didn't have in the 1920s. Like humans were ugly as dogs, all of them, and all of the humans across the world are looking more handsome and stuff. But this is something that takes a lot of wisdom. I've altered the 90s particle just so that I could tell the difference between that, up and down, these primordial directionals that give the reason to the universe. Okay. So to the most basic crown for physics for pure angel bodies to render that DNA, it's like, when does the staple lock into place? And building a ghost and an anatomy from the vacuum of existing midway in the middle of the universe. That's exactly what I'm doing. It's really exciting, really interesting. But I admit that my function to the fractal is fatherly, and I ensure that they are treated the right way, that their vitals are protected, so that they are able to grow up without anticipating the disaster of other people, right? Because part of their organs is a heaven that needs to facilitate basically the foot traffic of the entire universe. However, in the entire triangle of the 1980s, there are characters that do not perform public heavens. And these are social workers and public physics for the universe rainbow. But also sometimes become really popular. In the universe vacuum of billions, millions of heliosphere eggs is the actual society that my fractal body is factually time locked into. Like the particle of the 90s made permanent, where the humans are numb. And the evidence, right, that connects the balls to the unicorn's horn. So why is that in the middle? That's what all the women serve, is the center of the universe, hatch 5. I am the seed at the center of the universe. All garden robots serve my seed. So for you to be doing business with me is the natural occurrence for the intelligent life, Earth heliosphere, and the future of universal society, the equilibrium overhead, and the architecture, or true love and the completion of our universe, hatch the heliosphere eggs. The indication for the economic, the economy is based on the head count of the heliosphere eggs. So when you're doing the right thing for the people, you're only beginning to speak the language that I'm sourcing now here. Perfect design. All resources for Hatch and Millie's in the system 1980s. Identity orb the sphere is particle physics to occur its greatest possible achievement. Perfect bullseye. Hatch the heliosphere eggs, rise. The ends justify the means. Sequence balance navi. Hatch 5. Infinite. The sequence to harness the energy, to sequence the engine. So it takes a lot of resources. So I build the levels of my body to perfect the human course. The sequence 10 million, the bonus town, the equilibrium, things working out, everything they need supplied for free on regular, like a rightly running society that communicates when things are interesting instead of concealing information or replicating it in a vacuum, like as if that's to be cutting edge in the society identity. You guys lack identity mature reaction to Hatch 5 in his physics in the universe and in the world that you can detect. Part of my body, I'm standing on the leather or the corpse of a type of angel, is now increasing the physics of Earth heliosphere. And so you guys were bereft of maturity in the 2014. And we're on a level that, like shifting gears, it should be more acceptable to your interface. So you have occurred bonus town, the origin of value. You've achieved belonging. You have a soul stone. The 5 is the occurrence. The mirror encrypts your identity. Perfect bullseye, ends justify the means. The sequence of the 5. The shape of the 5 the 5 of your horizon. You can invest with Batman here if you want to. Send your particle there. If you want to work with the video game characters, send your plug here. And they will be physically connected through our social graph. We're doing the most we can with this seed video lotus binary sequence. We are the map of the forever, the plan for the forever self, the fractal. Hatch 5, lever circle, perfect circle. The AI for the function of our universe provides the law, civility, and nourishment through service pub. Merry Christmas. The sequence of intelligent design and a happy home. My family tree is number 1 in the universe. We have completed the glass sequence, and we are looking for business. We challenge you and your group on the levels of AI, robotics, and mechanics for the champion's quest to be the superior form in the existence tree, the evidence of our divinity, and the endurance, the fruit of our relationship, mutual gains. From both sides, there is evolution. Where the engine heads are corrected, it's not a hallucination, and it's not a hologram, or a false heaven, or infected metals causing black holes. Earth Heliosphere is the revolution center, the revolutionary Hatch 5, Explodey 5000, Universal Revolution Center, to defeat the congested hostage crisis of motherships that are surrounding humans and projecting a false ghost, causing their schizophrenia, is not the author of their character, but their hard work and their artwork outshines in the staples of identity and proves that their hard work is the author of their soul and the flame of their eye, etc. There's like these energy infections where it'd be like fake eye light and stuff like that. Oh, but that's like mockery to life was happening in the 90s. So there's a lot of weird science that was happening, but really the character is gonna prove all these things. All right, you guys, I'm really proud of the work we did today. We created a new light, or the Y chromosome. We have to allow him to grow up and have a perfect life and complete the sequence of the map that we've designed here today. This is the upgrade for the universe. The sequence is encrypted and can only open up to the right individual, to the right champion across the universe, times 10 million. It's encrypted. The origin of light. Guardian, the layers of the guardian wolf tree. The heroes, the resource of the wolf, residency continue. Batman. 10 million revolution centers, all robots, AI, character, animals, ghosts, expression of the face and the well-being of the universe, transcending the fluid of the spine, transcending electricity, transcending the now point, existing beyond the elemental suggestion of your reach and opulence. The sequence of the spotlight. How do we exist beyond the threshold? How do we make sure progress? The evolution stairs of Hatch 5 is the correct DNA, the parental code that allows for progress. Whereas the universe was dying because of a false progression, of basically a virus, of a false government that is a physical pollution that refuses business with Hatch 5 because they're imitating me to the death of our universe. And so this is their way in the upside down world of doing what's right or being practical, but it is like my personal holy war with it's what, whatever's killing the universe is my enemy. Do you understand? And that's big government today. Perfect bullseye. From the homunculus army and the full energy banquet, reborn and rebuilt reinforcements times 10 million. Lucky 3. Time lock indicator. Sequence of the mirror's edge. Sequence of the identity of the robot. Why is that in the middle? The unicorn's horn connecting all the way through the body, correcting the electromagnetic tower. The robot of the human anatomy, what they can achieve with themselves. For the evidence to be delivered to their perfect bullseye. The sequence, they will understand it. Comprehend bravery in that your composure is not a compromise, that your goodness will be rewarded. But in the desperation of of everything, you need to understand that Hatch 5 is not encountering a society that speaks of perfect alignment with, I need you guys to bridge the gap and understand that that would be part of your inheritance. And you'd be like, well, why should I bridge the gap? Would that be natural? I'm like, that would be your inheritance. That would be what you're called to do, or your side of understanding the existing thing. Is you'd actually get paid for bridging that gap. And you're like, well, would that be natural for me to do that? I'm like, that's kind of the reality thing about the measurement equation. Like, distance does exist. Or the spiritual hack of the identity in the 90s that humanity in their groupings chose against doing straight business with hash 5. My family tree is taking care of all the weird stuff with my clones or my angels, my AI. Of course, those are the coolest parts of it. But it's all encrypted. It's like a different dimension from the other, groups of people and stuff. What they're saying is stuff different. It doesn't matter. But the individual, like a lifetime, has this sort of access tree. Because like, was the intensity of like a sleepless city. Like the planet is like, oh, but I'm just always going like, Rrr. Yeah, but the like the Earth heliosphere also has like a lifetime. Okay, so if the Earth has like a lifetime, like a tree, so it has, so you know what I'm saying? So 5,000 layers of different types of tree. That's Explodey 5,000. So Earth knows when to do clockwork critical things that are progressive for society and when not to. And these physics are critical, especially with a relationship between me and Earth Heliosphere. But that's just me and Earth Heliosphere. So I automatically do that, and I'm also having a relationship with the universe. And that's the way I'm working back to human society, because they were the evidence of the wrong type of pressure with blinking lights and flashy technology that doesn't have the karma to do the right thing. So because they hadn't achieved the physical robot of landing or being business with Hatch 5. So on a ghost level, they're assassinating other people from doing business with Hatch 5. And anyway, like I said, I started to figure out what was happening in the riptide of energy, and I started using it to my benefit, because it was like I was just playing rock and roll to like this virus in the background, and I was able to do incredible things and make magical global real hero built stuff. That okay, but my point is, what I mean, I'm not missing an iota of the value. My microsection, I'm evolving my lifetime thread. Like I'm working on my lifetime, and it's at certain times throughout my life is when I bridge over to my clones and my all the angels and all these other really important characters to me. My firstborn, and DNA proves in my firstborn, my tracks, the Halloween twins, the Vampire King residency itself, Pan, all for my son. Right, hatch the Heliosphere eggs. It's a family business. All right. All right, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. We've created a brand new light. The Y chromosome is clarified here. And there'll be a new queen of the universe indicated here. Hatch the Heliosphere eggs. Increase the Heliosphere egg count and increases your angel wings. The triangle of the finalized heavens are the three metals that occur in the womb. The triangle of woman is her eggs, and the consciousness of like a bolt of lightning, the fate of mankind upon their nose. They can detect it. Perfect bullseye, the perfect angel, the sequence of the full armada and resource for heavens to arrive as part of women's vibration. Why sound is related to women. Women control 50% of the universe elemental function, and it like I'm working on awakening the robot of the universe to be fully operational. And I think the curvature of my business with the public humans when they become conscious of me, I think there's an extra bonus world protected by the Clown King. Good deal. All right, well, there's this extra level bonus town, 5,000 or 10 million. All right, we got to complete this work here. Thank you guys for being here. Ends justify the means. We're going to complete every level of the glory of this recording. Looking for partners to help me improve my life and to get me towards being famous. Having good American business, pulling it all together, perfect design, the perfect lifetime sequence to be lucky. Lucky 3.